Well, we're back a little quick,
Hi,
but I
guys.
thought it was important. I'm sorry. You know what, Crash? You know I'm bad at this.
That's okay.
But uh,
Today's the
but I, get-
29th
I
of
talked to Crash this morning and said, listen, I'm seeing this, and I'm thinking an urgency to tell people what they're seeing and what's going on. We are in a monumental time right now. So let's go through the title is right. All the right moves so far.
right.
And that's referring to President Trump and the moves that we're seeing. And it's those moves that I want to just go briefly with. Something short, but to the point, but moved by strategy. And what I'm trying to do is put you into that strategy, have you see the flow of logic and the movement. Now, from my position and what I have said, what did I have been giving you through the evidence with the Department of Justice? What was in there? Paths through the money laundering, paths through the drug cartels, path through the IRS and the Treasury Inspector General. Paths. You see? Now, so what is recently just happening? Well, let's take a look. We got the let's put that. Well, we mentioned it yesterday. Before we put that up, Crash. Trump goes after the Department of Justice, fires 12 U.S. attorneys. The U.S. attorneys are prosecutors. And if you remember the tape that I heard with Jack Smith in the room with two of his U.S. attorneys, that I am telling you, at least one, maybe both of them, are in those 12 people. Now, what would be the move? If our move is to take this back from the Department of Justice, turn around and uncover all this corruption, what you got to do now is, right? Trump fires those U.S. attorneys. He turns around and incriminates them and indicts them and gives them an immunity deal. Now we've got people from the inside of the Department of Justice going after the Department of Justice. At the same time, Trump takes the people who were behind Jack Smith in the insurrection plan. They would have been working with Flynn. You see what I'm saying? That's a
Yeah.
major door. And it also might be why we're having so many people targeting Flynn because again, that contagion. What we've got to know is that movement. That movement there with Trump suggests the right move. Now, what went past most people's attention was Trump firing inspector generals. And that was just a few days ago. If you remember, what did we have on tape? The Treasury Inspector General. That was the money laundering. That was O'Keefe. That's what Lullen, the U.S. attorney, asked for, along with those envelopes that was going from the intercepted from with the IRS. My
Right. And
point being
let
is
me say, and that's evidence you got to Trump and Lelling, and all that evidence went to everybody, right?
exactly.
Right. Okay.
So think the move now. Think how they're moving the pieces, right? Go after who went after you. Go after Smith's hench boys in the Department of Justice. Then turn around and go after the inspector generals that are heads of the different departments within the state, particularly the Treasury, which I have on tape. That's the IRS and money laundering. Okay, so now you see the movement. Those are the right movements. Now this is the movement that got me my attention. Let's do that first one, Crash.
Okay.
Now this movement, again, I seen today. Judge pauses federal funding freeze to confusion and frustration spread. All right, now let's think about this. Why would that? Okay, you can take that down, Crash. No, no. Why is that important? It's the right and proper move on the board. Right now, it's the DOJ. You get your own director of the FBI. That's the move to the FBI. You turn around, get the inspector general. You get the corruption in the departments, such as the Treasury and the IRS. Right move. Now, all of a sudden, you're freezing federal funding. Well, guess what, boys and girls? Who did I tell you the cartels were opening treatment centers? Medicaid expansion. Why did the cartels own hospitals,
Hospital. Yeah.
pharmacies?
I was going to say the hospitals and the pharmacies.
Right. Why do the cartels own the treatment centers? Because the treatment centers are federally funded and Medicaid expansion from the patients. It's a robbery. Now, that means what I would do in my plan would be to freeze them from stealing anything more and then immediately go after and freeze their assets. Because that's how we're going to pay our bills, by the way. And we'll get into that in a second. But my point being is that is the right move. The inspector general into those, freeze those accounts. And that's the cartel. All right. All right. Then we've got number two. I think it's the Green Deal. Here's part of the movement too, right? Part of what they're stealing and Congress is voting on, and why all these senators in Congress are getting rich as lobbyists, insider traders. It's these kind of deals. What did Trump do? Blow up the Green Deal. What was the Green Deal? All people that were congressmen and senators that were getting payoffs. Sununu invested in a copper mine in Colombia because of the Green Deal. All of a sudden, those federal giveaways for those house panels and so forth. Hey, listen, we don't like clean energy, but we ain't there yet. And they knew that then. And who's behind it? Oh, I don't know, Elon Musk. And Elon Musk has had more to do with clean energy, with Tesla than anyone. And he's saying, I'm in. What does that tell you?
Right.
So what it was is stealing. So now they killed the deals that were stealing, investigate the money that was going into them, and through Medicaid expansion, then the right move.
And let me ask you this. Did you see the videos that were saying that showing how the DOJ was evacuated and all that yesterday? Did you see that?
Yes.
Do we know? I didn't get to look today. Did we know anything about that yet, or do we know what was going on there? Okay.
No,
All right.
I don't yet.
I didn't check, but just wondered if you knew.
And you know what? Before we do this, because you did have that piece when we were talking about the freezes. Well, what about the federal layoffs? Because of all of a sudden, if we're broke and we own this money, maybe we'll cutting people. Oh, Trump comes out today. 2 million federal workers are asked to take a buyout. I think this was just today. Wouldn't you cut your expenses? These people, what did the mafia do? No show jobs? That's what these people do. You know why? Because they are organized crime and has always been this way. You're going broke. That's what's scaring everyone and bringing it to your attention. 2 million federal workers? I don't know. Are we having a slowdown? Is the economy dropping down? Oh, wait a minute. Throw 2 million off the boat. We're sinking. It's because they robbed us blind. Now you can put that post up with Musk put up a post today and called these cuts and these freezes as critical. Now, it'll be the one after, but let's leave that up there. See, wait a minute. It is critical to take action at this now, right? 36 trillion. Now for what is it? 2 years now I've been telling you the debt, the
Yeah.
courts and the debt. I mean, where the hell are we? 36 trillion. Now, when you see 1 trillion go to New Hampshire through cartels, child traffickers, through Pandora Papers, they threw it on top of that number. They launder it through the same system, the same protection. That's the DOJ. That's the IRS. Now, there's another one with is the post that I said to Musk responded. And what I'm saying is, see, in other words, Musk brings up the date. I did. I've been bringing it up. Could you blow that up a little more? Oh, yeah, that's good. That's
That
good.
sounds big. Yeah.
Critical now. I've been calling this out for the last 3 years. Elon, why do we have 36 trillion in debt? Because they stole it. And they sold us to the cartels and corrupt industries. Solution: you take the money back. Who stole it? Did you miss that the Pandora Papers tracked $1 trillion in New Hampshire? It came from drug cartels and child traffickers around the world. They put that trillion on top of our trillion. Now, discover the laundering network that told the world Pandora's box. That's what I gave you since 2013. That's the first 50 million I refused. The only move I know, is seize the assets now. Google me, you will find I own the most successful mortgage brokerage firm in the nation. I know how to win. Meaning, what? Okay, that's good. I know if Elon Musk, we were playing chess, I would know he would know the next move and know the obvious. There's assumptions, meaning Elon Musk telling you 36,000. He's working on that Dodd, and they kicked the Vivek out, right? About cost savings. That's his focus. He called it critical. And then he's warning you all in the same day that we're 36 billion in debt. And then when Trump freezes spending on federal aid and people pause because we're going broke and they're stealing it, it's the reason why. Listen, Musk is that smart. He is that smart, which makes him also that dangerous. Let's hope he's good.
Yeah.
Listen, I knew a lot of smart people, and they all suck. But this is so, in other words, he knows this about seizing their assets. But here's the beauty in this. If you're going to seize their assets, these are the moves before. Get into the DOJ. Take over the FBI as the AG, right? Get in, indict these people. Follow their money, follow their assets. Then you start seizing it. Then you start, listen, the stuff that was sold to you across this, think of the pharmaceutical industry that's been saved. Where is that money that coming to the victims that lost their lives? You didn't see it. When the real estate collapsed, right? Nobody went to jail, and you bailed everybody out.
Yeah, we all got screwed.
Right.
I was one of them.
Right. And you know what? We're set up here again now. We've got a moment. Nobody's been moving these in place. And I would be the one to tell you they're not moving. Now, I don't know about Patel. But again, how many times did I say about movement? The movement I see, and it's rapid.
Right.
And the fact that they're saying, what did they say, that 2 million, that they're in a frenzy, they don't know what to do,
yeah,
all the stuff. Well, means it also is going to come back with an explanation. What explanation can it be but how the money left? Did we overspend? We didn't overspend my ass. Pelosi, they say 249 million insider trading, and everybody's laughing. Hey, that's the 249 that they let you see. If she's showing you that, there's some place where there's 1 billion. And that place is what New Hampshire was hiding. That is the money laundering network. That's why they tracked $1 trillion. And Musk would have to know this. So, again, we will tell you we're going to follow. We were patient. We were patient for a day. But these moves are coordinated.
What about the cartel you have here a note with the cartel?
Oh, good. Thank you. Do you have that thing with the cartel? Right. I think this came up even today. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Watch the war with cartel.
It's an older one, but I didn't see it. So
yeah, it was today. Now think about this. Who did I go to war with? The cartel. What did I say? Treasury Inspector General, the DOJ, and so who did I say have that evidence that Lullen has? Was the cartels. But if you think the Mexican cartels is running the operations in the United States, you're wrong. Listen, poppies was cocaine and heroin and different things like that. Now it's fentanyl, and it's synthetic. Technically speaking, you don't need any of the cartels. The future is caught up with the drug industry. They can make it better, and they can make it faster, and they do. You just don't survive it, and that's fentanyl. That's part of what's going on right now. So he's going on war with these cartels and they're shooting back and forth. Listen, you worry about the American cartels. They're the ones that opened the doors.
Yeah.
You worried about the American cartels that are controlling hospitals and pharmacies and treatment centers. That's Anagos cartel. That's what I gave you.
There's cartel in everything. Auto industry, bank. I mean, like, it's not just these Mexicans crossing the border. It's like every industry has like a cartel.
Those trillions are buying industries. Normal, average people, hardworking people are competing of people who are supposed to lose. Listen, the cartel owned Planet Fitness. They were charging you 10 a month. They were charging you 10 a month because they didn't have to make money from that. They made money from traffic.
Right.
That's what it was. So, in other words, the other thing about American cartels, it's Department of Justice, like a Bill Shaheen was the Department of Justice, that has the law firm and it partners with the cartel. There's the connection with the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice are made up with all these corrupt lawyers working for the same law firms that cover for these criminals. These criminals, these law firms infiltrate your state courts, and then they get into federal courts and they control the judgments. I mean, how soon is it? Maybe next week when Trump starts talking about putting those judges in jail?
I hope so.
Right. Maybe we'll even interview the juries to find out if there were any plants.
Yeah.
I'll bet you $50 there was. That's what this was. So, in other words, again, the courts. So everything's lined up. The moons are aligned. Now we got to have the courage to keep going forwards.
Right.
But
And all these
I like
things,
what I'm seeing.
right. All these things are something you say you would have started tackle. You would have done it.
It's
You know,
how I would move.
I mean, so,
It's exactly how I would move.
I mean, you've been doing this so long. I'm not saying, like people are going to say, well, who is Mike? But see, the thing is, what I see in Mike is he knows how to read people that are in this game because you've been doing it so long. So
19 years, right?
reading the
And
board.
listen, I was only, again, built the largest volume brokerage firm, world champion of racing. I wasn't a bit of a schmuck even then. And then all of a sudden trade all that wealth into this.
Right.
I mean, I was a strategist. I bumped into their strategy.
And
And
you
then
bumped
that's
into
why,
them too.
well, that was part of the strategies once I started knowing them. You seen those when I put those blocks, organization charts on
Yeah.
blackboards?
Yeah.
That's how I formed it, like a businessman. Listen, this is a business. This corruption's an industry. What the protection the DOJ sells, they sell it to food companies. They sell it to energy companies. I
Yeah.
mean, anything that'll steal or harm you, which is maybe why we're dying younger.
Right.
How many people really die of fentanyl? Are we dying off a generation? You know, when I living in these kind of places, you know what's so disheartening, breaks my heart, is all the children that
Right.
live in a motel. And it's a thing. Families get out of place, and families of 5 and 6 are living in one little room.
Right. Well, tell just for real quick. There was a video you did. You interviewed a homeless girl, or I'm not sure if she was just a homeless or a prostitute, whatever, but young girl. And what struck me was when you told me, you said, "Why is everybody so young?" And what
Yeah.
did you say? Tell them what she said, because that
I
really,
know there's a video that I did with a girl that would get raped almost daily in that
yeah,
park. But that wasn't the one you were talking about. I know the one you were talking about because it was one of my life moments.
right,
And I guess you get older, you figure out you have certain life moments. This was one for me. What I was doing at night, some nights, I was going to, it's a main street in Manchester, New Hampshire called Elm Street. But off of these Elm Street, these little roads, is where all these people come to buy drugs and are on drugs or are homeless and so forth. It's a tough area. So I would go there and I had my son with a camera and I would go to it was pretty much all young people. And
yeah,
this was this one girl, and I guess maybe 15 years old, no older, maybe a year one way, but young girl, innocent girl. Broke my heart that she was there. And so I started talking to her and I asked her, I go, you know what? I'm not seeing older people here. Why everybody young? And he goes, because, mister, we don't get old.
And that's yeah, that really hit me when you said that. I was like, wow, I never even thought about it, and hearing it,
Yeah.
it's like that's that's bad. That's the fentanyl.
Especially when you're looking at her in the eye
Yeah,
and she's a little girl. And I had a daughter that was like right around that age.
yeah,
So and I helped as many as I could. And I did with housing and so forth. That's how I spent a lot of my money and
right.
these victims and kept their homes and bought them teeth.
I mean,
But
I might, but it's
yeah.
I mean, hey,
But you know something too? That's the other thing when you get homeless and so forth. What you take for granted, these people, even their teeth, because they lose them and they
yeah,
don't have money to replace them.
right. All right. Well, I just wanted to just get,
Enough
I,
cheery thoughts.
well, something thought made me think of that story when you were talking, and I thought, you know what, people haven't
Yeah,
heard that. I wanted to hear it. So,
right. See, I'll leave you with this. Why I never took a deal, one of the reasons is I heard all the voices of that girl and hundreds of more. Parents that lost their children, people that lost their homes. You remember all those moments and you shared the pain with them or you felt the pain with them. It never leaves you. And I would never betray all those people that I met. Although I had one, I think he was 16 or 17-year-old, came in for a job. I want to work your camera. I want to do this. And I remember going, I mean, listen, this is a little bit dangerous and it's a little, he goes, listen, my parents are both drug addicts. I lived that world. And he wanted to be dedicated working with me in state of corruption. And that's another one of those things that touched me because you don't see it so much from the children, but the children now who struggle because their parents are drug addicts turn around and a lot of them, and this one particularly looked at that and said, I'm not going to be that. I'm going to fight that.
wow.
So
Yeah.
those moments give you encouragement.
Right.
But those moments, well, I'm telling you about that story, and that's 9 years ago.
Oh my.
But to me, it's like yesterday. It's like one, and I think me and Crash talked about this. It's one continuous days of yesterdays,
Yeah.
all
For
these years.
for you. Yeah.
Right. I don't have memories of births or games or this. It's that. It's this. And my focus is on this, which is also how I became a wealthy man. I dug in more than anybody else, but I hung on more harder than anybody else. And there's nothing more important than hanging on right here and right now. They want me to give up.
Yeah.
This is designed for me to give up. They want me to take a deal. They always have. And they're conditioning for me for that. And we're hanging on. And we've hung on long enough. I think I did this in a post that I'm coming with the ammunition.
Yeah.
That's it. We're here with the bullets because they didn't have them. And when we get back into the tape, again, another bullet. You
Yeah.
can't say we didn't show up with ammunition. Listen, I showed up with ammunition and nobody came. I was a party. It was like Braveheart leading the charge and looking around, and you're by yourself. I
By
was only
yourself.
fighting the Department of Justice, the FBI, the largest cartel in the country, the courts, the AG's office, the IRS and TITCA, and the banking department and the banking commissioner.
Oh, is that it?
I'm sure that it's not.
I know. Just kidding.
But I
So
ain't giving
we're
up.
watching things though, and I was excited when he called me because I could hear the encouragement behind his voice. So I said, we got to tell people this because you're trying to keep people updated what you see, and if people want to
Yeah,
see what you're thinking, this is a good way to do it.
you were right. Even today, I'm thinking we can't wait a day.
Yeah.
We got to hit them. And we got to tell them now. But I'll tell you, it's rapid fire. I've got a feeling in the next 24 hours, we may have something else.
Something else, I know.
Right. How about this? They're going to have to tell you why they want 2 million people, 2 million federal employees pink slips.
Right. My
Hey,
jaw
wait a minute.
dropped. 2 million. I said, what?
Were you bastards necessary?
Yeah.
And you throw those into employment. Hey, let's start with the ones that are cops that are stealing. Public, these are lawyer law firms, the public defenders. Let's start cleaning up with them. How about the ones that aren't showing up for work anyway? We don't need them.
Right.
Let's go with the ones that are stealing.
Yeah.
Listen, I've got a list myself. I'll give you a name. All right, Crash.
All right. I'll talk to you.
Okay.